Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Sam Zagar. We're doing another YouTube reading today. We're going to be reading for a 3-5 emotional generator, and I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. This is the biggest intake form I've gotten so far. I'm going to put the chart up now, and then you can look with me as I go through the intake form, and we're going to see what comes up for you as well. What is your biggest question? How can I tell when I'm in innocence transference versus when I'm resting and correctly enforcing my inaction from my 52.3? I still can't gauge what my energy levels are and how much I need to rest versus how much I can actually work because they just seem all over the place. I'll be exhausted one day, super energetic the next with no predictable pattern. Do I need to rest more? Do I need to work more? I literally can't tell. And I can't build a schedule that I can stick to without having a sense of that. From that paragraph alone, what has stood out to me is that I have 3 motors defined. I only have one channel coming off of the sacral center. I have a quad left variable configuration. I have someone with a trial and error learning process. I have a third line. So whenever someone comes to me and they're like, hey, this isn't working out, I'm like, that might be part of your process. Are we trying to figure out what's not working so we can get rid of it? So, what's the problem that this person's actually needing help with? Why is the question important? I'm a full time YouTuber and I find making videos extremely satisfying, but I want to create videos in a more sustainable way and optimize my currently non existent schedule. Okay, so they have a work, they have a job, they're putting out videos. They want it to be more sustainable and they want a consistent schedule or they want some type of routine to be established. I feel like I'm trapped in a cycle of procrastinate and then work for 10 to 12-hour days to put the video out and then do nothing for a week because I'm exhausted from working 10 to 12-hour days and then repeat that. I often forego eating, sleeping, exercising, and general home maintenance when I'm in the work of 10 to 12-hour days and it feels unsustainable and there's got to be a better way to do this and I just don't know what it is or where to start. I don't want to keep putting myself in a pressure cooker, blocking out the rest of the world and ignoring my body's needs to get stuff done. I'm constantly struggling to maintain any semblance of a routine and my energy levels are so inconsistent. I am waiting for this person to tell me that they've been diagnosed with ADHD. Genuinely. I can feel the quad left there. Like I can absolutely feel the quad left there. What else are you curious about? I used to be super social and was often hosting parties, going out with people, etc. But since I started deconditioning and working on my YouTube channel, I don't have any urge to socialize with new people, only a select friends and my spouse. It's almost like being aware that I'm a 3-5 makes me want to avoid new people because I don't want to deal with the projections. Was I conditioned into being more social than I actually have the capacity for? Am I just recovering from spending tons of energy on people who weren't actually good for me? Is this just a consequence of me having 22 as a bridging gate and my mind convincing me that I'm not open to socialization? Is there anything in my chart that could give insight into the optimal level of socialization I require? I just have to acknowledge right now that it is really, really cool to get questions from somebody who's already well versed in human design. These are technical questions. This is going to be a longer reading. Good for them. Anything else you need me to know? I have ADHD. I have ADHD and I don't take medication for it. I'm almost 2 years into my experiment. I'm in my correct environment. Market's internal. Okay. I'm in my correct environment. I eat according to my calm touch determination. Do they, though? They said they skip meals. Also, my dream rave has gate 15 and my spouse has gate 5. We sleep in the same bed because we don't have enough room for another bed at the moment. We slept apart for a year and they wake up 4 to 5 hours before I do. One of my cats has gate 15. So I often wonder if I'm being conditioned by all that into taking on this extreme way of working. I also have chronic fatigue since I was a child. I have to be very careful to not overdo it, which is a big part of why I still can't gauge my own energy levels. Oh, this is a doozy. I'm gonna hit the quad left so hard. I'm coming for your leftness. Why? Because this story is shockingly like my own. And we have like none of the same definition other than the quad left variable configuration. We're both third lines, sure. Other than that, like, and yet I can relate so much to what I'm hearing here. So, without even actually answering any of these things specifically, I've taken in all of the information that this person is kind of concerned about. And I'm looking at this body graph. Things that are so significant to me are the scheduling problems, the energy problems, and the workflow. But what's fascinating to me is this person has already identified their problem. Like they've literally identified what is the problem for them, but it seems that they don't know how to do much about it. It's not so much that I'm here to identify the problem, it's that I'm here to identify how to deal with the problem. And the biggest problem that we're getting is that we have someone who is compressing a significant amount of energy into like a 1 day production, and then they're exhausted afterwards. And so a lot of what I felt here was the problem of hyperfocus. I don't eat, I don't sleep, I stop exercising, my home maintenance goes down. So there's like 1 day a week where this person's like, okay, I got to get it done. I got to get it done. Okay, so their root center kicks on and they're like, let's go get it done. But I've got this feeling here that feels like I don't know when enough is enough. I don't know when enough is enough. That's supposed to be an undefined or open sacral problem. But if this person doesn't even necessarily recognize that they have sacral definition, they're also likely going to be in that they don't know when enough's enough. And like literally, they said, I can't tell if I need to work more or need to work less. I genuinely have no idea. I'm like, that's because your sacral center is unconscious. God forbid this person is trying to figure out what they should be doing on their own, as in nobody is asking them. If this person is trying to determine like how much energy they have every day and what to put it into, I'm thinking there's a really good chance they're not putting it in the right place. Like if somebody maybe to asked them in the morning, like, are you wanting to work on a video today? Uh-huh. Are you wanting to work 12 hours on a video today? Uh-uh. Are you going to be able to stop yourself from working 12 hours today? Uh-uh. Do you need some support from me to help you work less? Uh-huh. Do you want me to help you have a focus break? Yes, please. Like, so part of my concern here, I have a collective channel, a tribal channel, an individual channel, a collective channel. So we have like kind of a smattering of all of the circuitry things. Like we've got support, we've got empowerment, we've got sharing. This person has like some awareness of what these things are, but I don't know if they have access to them or the ability to ask for them, or if the person they would ask for support for actually even knows how to give them the support that they need. Because the way that they're describing their recording and editing and work process is very much like how I started my YouTube stuff. Now, third line, I didn't know a lot of what I was doing in the beginning. So when you're a third line, things take a longer time to figure out. A little bit like how like the MG will blow through things and then be like, oh crap, I missed a step back here. And then they got to kind of go back. The third line is like trying to kind of blow through things, but then they go, oh, that didn't work. Oh no. So I have to go back and undo it and try again. The trial and error process can make things feel lengthy. And if you're a sacral being, you might get frustrated. You might want to give up a little bit. I've got someone who still needs to trial and error their work, as in they have to trial and error their flow for their work more. They know that they're getting stuck in a certain flow. They know it's not healthy for them, but they can't necessarily crack out of it. So, how do we get them out of it? How do I interfere with this person in a healthy and appropriate way? Okay, now again, I'm going to go into like calm determination. This person tried to say, like, I'm in my right environment, I'm eating the right way, like, what's going on? And I'm like, are you though? Like, everything you said about like crushing the 10 to 12 hour like focus flow, that's not a calm feeling. I know that that's not a calm feeling. That's not a chill feeling. When we have a calm determination brain, we have somebody that cannot fast, as in calm is left. We have a left oriented active brain. This is someone who likely on the day that she is going to do her work probably like gets up and is like, I'm gonna just start working. I'm gonna just get this over. I'm gonna just get it over with. Yeah, totally you are. Because then you skipped breakfast, right? And then you're like, well, if I just push through a little bit more, and then you start to get brain fog or crash, or you start to get hangry. I bet that you are very, very, very unpleasant to deal with after a 12-hour workday where you didn't work. And I don't think that other people should have to deal with that just because you have something in you that's like, I gotta keep going. I gotta. I'm like, why can't we interrupt that? Like, where's the, how do I, okay, so if something is happening here, the wrong focus is happening, and I can't quite interrupt that. If they're trying to tell me that their calm determination's right and that they're in their right market's internal environment, then I have to look over a view perspective, probability view, and action set. Okay, so there should be a quality of action sense behind the probability view. They should be able to focus on the thing that is likely and do something about it. But are they distracted? Are they getting stuck in possibility view? And they don't know what the action is and they don't quite know what to focus on. Something is happening where when the workflow starts, it's probably starts fairly well. But then there should be a point where a focus break should happen. And this person is able to recalibrate, like have a conversation with someone about like, are you done work for the day? Do you have more work you want to do? Would you like to, like, there has to be a little bit more communication so that the response keeps going to the appropriate place. I want to talk about the desire thing. How can I tell when I'm in innocence transference versus when I'm resting and correctly enforcing my inaction? They're comparing innocence transference to inaction and rest, which tells me that I don't think that this person quite understands what their innocence transference would be. This person has desire as their correct motivation, and desire is I desire to lead you somewhere. Like, I want you to end up over here. I desire for this to be the way. I want to lead you. I desire to lead you over here. Innocence motivation is I don't desire to lead you anywhere. Like, I am innocence motivation. I don't desire to lead you anywhere. I'm doing my own thing. I'm minding my own business. Your business is your business. If you need me to get involved in your business, you can recognize me, invite me, compensate me, and I can be your transitional bridge to help you get from one thing to the next, which is what's happening here. But do I have a want for where you're going? No. So if you transfer to innocence, what that should feel like is if you suddenly care a lot about your own self leadership. If you are in your own little world, doing your own thing, minding your own business, focused on your stuff, that's a lot more innocent. Raw gives a very funny example of like recycling. And I love this because it's just like, it's so unemotional, right? So the example is recycling. Desire motivation will go up to people and be like, you need to recycle. We got to save the planet, you know? Whereas an innocence motivation person, I just do my own recycling. If I think people should recycle, then I better recycle. And that's the end of the story. So if you switch to your innocence, really what that comes across as, and when you transfer, you lose the quality of sense or cognition behind it, which is actually the genuine intelligence. Like your strategic mind comes from your action sense. But if you transfer from the 3 to the 6, you lose the quality of action sense, which in many ways means you lose the quality of the strategy, which feels like mental health problems. It feels like a lot of messy confusion. If you don't know what action to take, if you're like, I don't know what to focus on, I don't know what action to take, I don't know what the plan is, I don't know, we got to back you up. I'd back you up to view, and then I'd back you up to environment. You say you're in the right environment, Mark, it's internal. So then I'm going to take you back up to calm determination. And here's the kicker. I bet that if we worked with your brain, we would fix almost all of these concerns. My genuine number one advice for you is please eat more. Eat more, eat more often. I don't care what the volume is. Like, I don't care what the ingredient is. And honestly, neither should you. It's about the circumstance. But it's not just circumstance. It's not like if you're in a calm place, your brain works well. It's calm, well, nourishing, but there's a leftness to it and there's a taste component to it. Like if I want you to actually have taste cognition, if I want you to enhance this quality about you, this intelligence about you, I got to feed your brain, which means I need to feed your brain frequently, very frequently. So when you have these 10 to 12-hour days where you are forgoing eating, sleeping, exercising, general home maintenance, you are taking what could be a 40-hour work week for your mind, and you are forcing it to happen in one day. And so because you're not breaking to nourish yourself, you're you're wasting your energy. Like, unfortunately, sorry, and truly, you are wasting your energy. You're not taking in enough energy, and you're outputting in a very, very inefficient way. Like, very inefficient. But you know that. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. So the question is, why can't you stop? When you're in a focus flow, why can't you stop? I honestly, I kind of thought that there was going to be an undefined root center because I was like, why do they think they got to keep like task, 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 task until the 12 hours? And it's like, oh, finally finished all of my editing. I'm done. But I guarantee you, when you're done a 12-hour day, you have no idea what you even want to eat. I bet it's actually very hard for you to even like connect with your hunger. It's probably very hard for you to connect with your taste and be like, that's what I want to eat. You're probably totally, totally brain dead after a big work day. I would love to see you switch to 90-minute blocks, not hours and hours and hours, like 90-minute blocks. When a 90-minute block is done, you need to stop editing or recording or whatever, or you need to break things into more bite-sized pieces. Okay, so you have a strategic mind, quad left, strategic. It's like, what are the pieces? What are the plans? What's the step? What's the sequence? There's a very good chance you need to use the actual intelligence that you have. You need to be as smart as you are able to be. And you need to come up with some kind of a plan for how you're going to have your day. Now, I'm not saying be rigid about how you follow the plan. The plan is not actually meant to stick to. You're a third line. There has to be innovation, adaptation, trial and error, but you got to give yourself a framework. And more than anything, the framework is to see where you start to venture off from it. Like, where are you unable to hold a commitment? If I wanted to blame the head The head would be pressure, pressure, and overwhelming and inspiring. But I'm not feeling that really is the problem. G center is like, who am I? I have things to share. I have like, secrets to contribute. Again, I'm not really there. I can feel more ego stuff in this one. I've got an undefined ego, the gate of the best. I got to prove, 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 prove. And that's the thing. It's like you sit there and you prove for 10 to 12 hours and then you're exhausted afterwards. And maybe there's this question of like, I have three motors and a left environment. Shouldn't I be like a pretty energetic kind of person? But your solar plexus doesn't really give you motor power. The, the motor of the solar plexus is basically needed for the solar plexus to do its own processing. The root is giving you a lot of energy, like adrenalized energy. And then the sacral gives you a fertility energy. But the solar plexus is like whatever power it makes, it needs it for its own processing. And I've got channel of synthesis. I've got the butcher channel. I've got like seduction for resources and tribal support here. I get the feeling that this person is, I don't want to say not well supported, but genuinely not well recognized. Um, I have ADHD and I don't take medication for it. I'm curious about how you know you have ADHD, if you have a diagnosis, when did you get it, where did it come from, did they suggest medication, did they ask you like, would you like to try Adderall, and you went no, would you like to try Vyvanse, and you were like like did somebody ask you about this medication, this medication, this medication, and you had a no, 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 no for all of them? Why do you have a no for medication? I personally, I waffle. Sometimes I take my ADHD meds, sometimes I don't. I'm quad left. Learning to take focus breaks was the number one game changer for me. And also learning to eat. I will get into like a weird thing where it's almost like if you skip a couple meals in a day, you almost get this like lightheaded clarity momentum kind of thing, but it only feels good for a very, very, very small portion of time. And it's usually what happens right before the crash comes. And if the crash comes, you drove your vehicle too hard. You used to be super social. You loved hanging out and going to parties. Since you started deconditioning, you didn't have any urge to be social. There's a very good chance you simply do not have the energy to be social because you don't have the good flow with your actual work yet. In terms of the questions about gate 5 and gate 15, those let them go. Those might have been open head questions. And like, yeah, okay, they're probably an interesting answer could come up from them, but no, like of all of the things in your chart that are actually issues for you, the 515 thing is not that big of a deal. Being quad left is your biggest issue. Absolutely, being quad left is your biggest issue. Having an active brain is the biggest issue of all of them. And I think you take a little bit of advantage of your root center. Your root center doesn't want to work the way that you're making it work. You're probably dealing with way too much adrenaline in your body. I wonder if you are shaky. I'm wondering how often you are very, very, very shaky. When you start to shake, you need to stop. You need to go eat. And you likely need to just lay down while you process the food that you just put into your body. I mean, heck, you could even lay down and eat. That's pretty calm. Yeah, I'm going to leave that one there. Okay, interesting.